Right, ladies and gentlemen, the next short tutorial is how to create if-else statements. Again, I'm continuing with the work example that we currently was busy with in Computer Science 1, and I'm going to construct an if-else statement to test whether certain values are within certain ranges. The advantage of using a number of if-else statements is that it automatically stops the progression of an application if one of the statements happen to be true. You don't have to go down into each of the else statements. So potentially they do run a little bit more faster than a number of if statements, one below the other. So to do this, currently we're in a worked example here that has to work with some of the weights, and we've got some values that we have to get the sum for, and we're going to store this inside a special variable called score. So I'm going to take my score variable and I'm going to use this now, and I'm going to work out what the score is by just doing a little bit of maths in C++. So this is basically where we now take our water temperature and we multiply this with our weight for the water temperature, and we're going to add this to our coverage times the weight of the coverage plus population rainfall and the last one is wind speed. Okay, wind speed. There we go. So this line of code purely just populates this value here. Now I'm going to test this value given a specific criteria, and the criteria is a number of aspects. We're going to see whether it's between 0 and 50, then we're going to do something with it. If it's between 50 and 80, we're going to set another value to be, sorry, in fact I need to, if it's between 0 and sorry, just get the 0 and 50, we're going to change the grade variable to x. If it's between 50 and 80, we change the grade value to y. If it's between 80 and above, then we're changing the grade value to z. So how do we do this? Well, we can do an if statement. So if our score is greater than or equal to 0 and our score is less than 50, then we have to change the value of this variable. There's a variable here which is rating, and we have to make the rating equal to an x. Now because it's a character data type, the way that we assign a character to a character data type is using the single quote. Can you see that? It's not a double quote. Else, if our score is greater than or equal to 50 and our score is less than 80, then our rating is a y. Else, if our score is now greater than or equal to 80, then our rating is equal to z. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is effectively the if-else statement. So just quickly, how does it work? A normal if statement evaluates this statement here. If this is true, then it executes the next line of code. Well, the resultant statement, like CH rating is equal to X. So we basically execute this component here. If we did not have an else statement in front, it will also execute this and test whether that is true. But if we have an else statement in front, if this setting here was true, then it executed this, and immediately it then continues here at line 199 to continue executing the application. So that's what the else statement does. The else statement basically says we don't have to test anything after the else because this one already was true. Of course, if this was not true, then we continue with the next component, which is another if statement after our else, to test whether this area is true. And if this one is true, then we set CH rating is to Y, and we don't have to execute the rest of the code. All right. So that is the reason why we use an if-else statement. Let's just quickly bold. Okay, CH rating is set but not used. Let's just make sure that I actually did set it here again, but I haven't really used it anywhere else in my code. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is an if-else statement.